Mikolaj stood before the freshly dug grave, the cold earth beneath his feet, a stark reminder of the life he had been forced to take. His brother Jarek's lifeless body lay within, the tormented features now at peace. A heavy silence hung in the air, broken only by the distant tolling of the church bell, a somber requiem for the fallen. Mikolaj's hands trembled as he ran his fingers over the smooth wooden cross that marked the grave. The weight of his decision weighed heavily on his soul, the guilt and sorrow threatening to consume him. He had done what was necessary to protect the village, to stop Jarek's rampage, but the cost was unbearable. In the aftermath of their confrontation, Mikolaj had been left reeling, his mind racing with questions and doubts. How could he have struck down his own flesh and blood, the twin he had once shared an unbreakable bond with? The memory of Jarek's anguished cries, the desperation in his eyes, would haunt Mikolaj for the rest of his days. As he knelt beside the grave, Mikolaj allowed the tears to flow freely, his sobs echoing through the silent graveyard. He had become the very thing he had sworn to destroy, a hunter of the undead, a slayer of the cursed. The irony was not lost on him, for in his quest to save the village, he had sacrificed a part of himself. "Forgive me, Jarek," Mikolaj whispered, his voice barely audible. "I never wanted this for us. I never wanted to be the one to end your suffering." The sound of footsteps behind him drew Mikolaj's attention, and he turned to see Father Tomasz approaching, his weathered face etched with sorrow. "My son," the priest said, placing a comforting hand on Mikolaj's shoulder. "I know the burden you bear is heavy, but you must not lose hope." Mikolaj looked up at the older man, his eyes pleading for understanding. "How can I not, Father? I've become the very thing I despise, a killer of my own brother. How can I live with that?" Father Tomasz sighed deeply, his gaze filled with empathy. "The path of the righteous is often paved with difficult choices, Mikolaj. You did what you had to do to protect the innocent, to stop the darkness that had consumed Jarek. That is a heavy cross to bear, but it is one you must carry with courage and faith." "But the curse," Father Mikolaj said, his voice trembling. "It seems to have no end. First my parents, and now Jarek. How can I be sure that I, too, won't succumb to the same fate?" The priest's expression darkened, and he hesitated for a moment before speaking. "There is something you must know, Mikolaj, something I have kept hidden for too long." Mikolaj's heart raced as he listened, his eyes fixed on the older man's face, searching for answers. "The curse that plagues your family," Father Tomasz began, "it is not of natural origin. It was born of a pact, a bargain struck long ago by your ancestors with a dark entity, a demon, some would say." Mikolaj's breath caught in his throat, the revelation sending a chill down his spine. "A demon? How is that possible?" "Your family's history is steeped in sin and darkness," my son, the priest continued, his voice heavy with regret. "Your parents' crimes, their dealings with the occult, have only served to strengthen the curse that binds you all." Mikolaj felt the weight of the world crashing down upon him, the truth shattering his already fragile resolve. "Then there is no escape," he whispered, his heart sinking. "The curse will never be broken." Father Tomasz placed a hand on Mikolaj's shoulder, his eyes filled with a glimmer of hope. "Not necessarily, my child. There may be a way, but it will require great sacrifice and courage, the kind that you have already shown." Mikolaj looked up, his eyes searching the priest's face for any sign of reassurance. "What must I do?" "The demon that holds sway over your family's fate must be confronted, its power broken," Father Tomasz said, his voice stern. "But to do so will require you to delve deeper into the darkness, to confront the very essence of the curse that has plagued your lineage." Mikolaj's heart raced, the weight of his decision pressing down on him once more. "And if I fail?" The priest's expression grew somber. "Then the curse will continue, and the darkness will consume us all." Mikolaj turned his gaze back to Jarek's grave, the finality of his brother's fate etched in the cold, hard earth. He knew that the path before him was fraught with peril, that the very act of confronting the demon could cost him his life. But the alternative, to allow the curse to continue, to watch as it claimed more innocent lives, was unacceptable. With a deep breath, Mikolaj rose to his feet, his resolve hardening. "I will do it, Father. For the sake of the village, for the sake of my family, I will face this demon and end the curse once and for all." Father Tomasz nodded solemnly, a glimmer of pride in his eyes. "Then you must be prepared, my son. The journey ahead will be arduous and the path fraught with peril. But I will be by your side, and together we will confront the darkness that has plagued your family for generations." As the two men turned and walked away from the grave, Mikolaj cast one final glance over his shoulder, a silent promise to his fallen brother. "I will not fail you, Jarek. I will end this curse, no matter the cost." The church bell continued to toll, a somber reminder of the sacrifices that had been made and the battles yet to come.